My guest right now is Joel Lamoureux. He's a radio announcer, but a certified coach practitioner and a motivational speaker. His story, an absolute inspiration if you are looking to get fit, make some changes in your life, not even so much weight loss and fitness, but just positive changes in 2010. His story certainly will motivate you. 6 years ago, I was mentioning earlier, Joel weighed in at a staggering 600 pounds. He's lost an incredible 380 pounds over the past several years. And Joel, welcome back to the program. So we were mentioning the fact, along with the physical issues of weighing 600 pounds, probably even worse for you were the emotional issues and baggage attached.
Absolutely. And the negative self-loathing feelings that I was feeling for myself were affecting everybody around me as well. I noticed that there was a dynamic in my family that was negatively affected. I was starting to isolate myself away from friends and social settings because I was embarrassed to go out. And when you start isolating yourself away from something that feels so right, I'm a social butterfly by nature. I work in radio. I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky guy for the most part, and I love people. But I was taking all of these incredible gifts that were given to me, like the ability to meet people and love people and socialize, and I was hiding myself away because I was so embarrassed about what had become of my body and the way I approached myself.
I find it rather ironic that you chose a career that would put you so much in the public eye, like a radio announcer.
Absolutely. It's funny because I talk about that when I do my inspirational presentations. I say, what happened? How would a guy who has right from, as early as 6 and 7 years old and had a weight problem his whole life, why would you want to put yourself in a situation where you're working with the public in such a center stage forum? But I think subconsciously, I didn't think of the big picture, and I thought maybe if I could get a job where, first of all, wasn't too physical, that I could handle it, and was mostly mental, and hiding myself into a little studio where nobody would see me. But I didn't recognize that, you would have to be on a stage in front of people. You would have to be doing public functions and meeting new people every day. And I don't know how many times I went into public situations and I'm on the microphone talking and somebody comes up to see what you look like. What does that guy on the radio look like? And they come up to me and they say, geez, you don't sound that fat on the radio. It's like, wow, and again, I would leave that situation with another negative impact on my life.
So now, is it all right if I ask you kind of a personal question?
Absolutely.
Okay. I was reading, I've read through your blog, and we'll make sure everyone knows, how they can get in touch with you later on in the interview. But what was the pivotal moment? You absolutely knew you had to find a way to make a change because the alternative was suicide at that point in your thoughts. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that this actually happened in the washroom. Yeah.
Understand that at 600 pounds, I had such a massive amount of fat on the front of my body that, robbing me more of my dignity, I was unable to urinate standing anymore. And so I had to sit down in the washroom, and on this particular day, it was a summer evening, my wife was out of the house, my son was out of the house, and I had gone to the washroom. And I went to stand up, and I guess my body weight had just shifted slightly, that more weight went on to one of my legs. And I can only equate this to the sound of, if you think of like a 100-year-old oak tree and a massive branch that snaps off in a crack of thunder and lightning. That was the sound I heard as I stood up. And I saw stars in my eyes, and moments later, I awoke laying on the floor of the washroom. And I looked down to see what was the matter, and as I looked down, because I didn't recognize what had occurred, I looked down and I noticed that my right leg was sitting at 90 degrees from the knee down. And I grabbed it, panicking, not recognizing what had happened, and I swung it around and snapped it back into a straight position, and I heard it lock back into place. And what had happened is there was so much weight coming down, bearing on that one side, and just off balance enough that it completely dislocated my knee from its socket. And the sound that I heard was the dislocation of the knee joint itself, and when I snapped it back into place, that wasn't a pleasant experience either. But that, for me, was the pivotal moment that said to me, if I don't do something about this right now, something big is going to happen. I'm going to die. And I ended up laying on that bathroom floor for upwards of 30 to 40 minutes because I wasn't strong enough to lift or drag my body weight anywhere, and I was alone in the house until I could finally get enough strength to drag myself to a telephone to call for help.
So now, at this point, you made the decision, and we're not going to get into the specifics of the surgery that you underwent, because you say it's a very personal choice for everyone, but you opted for gastric bypass surgery.
Absolutely, and I did for me, recognizing, too, that through my doctors, nothing had worked for me. I had done all the diets, I'd done all the fads, I had tried pills, everything that was under the sun I had tried, first of all. Nothing allowed me to get control of the food going into my body, which was the biggest thing, the addiction to the food and the ability to control that. So my doctor had suggested I look into something called gastric bypass surgery. We found there were no doctors, and I don't believe there are any doctors currently doing the procedure in Manitoba, so I had to go outside of the province. I approached a doctor in Saskatoon that was doing the surgery and had some success, and he indicated to me that I was too obese to have the surgery. I was beyond the acceptable risk factors for his procedure or his practice, and he said to me that he wouldn't operate on me because the risk of death was too high.
Right.
And through a series of events and almost miracles in my life, I did find a doctor in London, Ontario, who did the procedure successfully. And again, like you said, I will not say that this procedure is for everybody. It's a high-risk procedure, and it's a personal choice. I'm willing to share, of course, my story and tell them what goes with that. But I will tell you that this is not the easy way out, as you often hear in the media. A lot of people talk about gastric bypass surgery. Just get the surgery. Everything will be fine. That's not how it works. The surgery controls the amount of food that you can put into your body, but over time, your stomach stretches back out to what would be a normal-sized stomach, which is, on average, the size of a deflated football, to give you an average. After the surgery, my size, the stomach size, was down to about the size of the egg, 2 to 3 ounces, and that controlled initially the amount of food I can put into my body. So that was step one. The rest of it was a commitment to lifestyle change, a positive attitude, and taking it through for the rest of my life. I said to my friends, my family, my doctor, that when I do this, I'm taking this all the way. The full lifestyle change, the full commitment to a healthy lifestyle, and that's what I've done. The surgery allowed me the food control, and then the rest of it has been diet and exercise consistently. Whereas before, at 600 pounds, I physically could not climb one single flight of stairs. I could not walk 30 yards without stopping, wiping the sweat from my brow, and having to sit down and take a break. That was my life. I could not function physically. Today, I will tell you, I now play hockey a couple of times a week. I hadn't played hockey in 20 years. I go to fit camps 3 times a week. I lift weights. I go bike riding. I did a 140-kilometer bike ride on Vancouver Island here where I live now a couple of summers ago. This is my second chance at life, and I want to show that it has to be a combination of all the elements that they've been telling us for years works. Diet and exercise. Go figure. It works.
Well, Joel, your story is certainly inspirational. I've run out of time here, but thank you so much for sharing your story. If folks want to find out more, they can head to your website.
Absolutely. My website is yourfirstday.ca, and as mentioned, I was taking this all the way. My goal is to help others as well, so I'm coaching now, meaning working with individuals to help them achieve their goals as well. So yourfirstday.ca.
Thanks so much. Joel Lamoureux on The Drive on CJOB 68.